I was a kid, we didn't even have electronics and things like that. I wonder what the other mentors around here had when they were kids and what their childhoods were like.
I would be asking mentors what is their favorite part of childhood memories.
So my favorite childhood memory is when I was 10 years old. We came here to Erie. We didn't live here at the time. And we came here to Erie and I visited my cousin's house. And when we were over there, she allowed me to ride her horse for the first time. And that was the first time I ever remember riding a horse. And it was so fun and I loved it. And I remember also that while I was on that horse, this girl pulled into her driveway. And I saw her and she was like eyeing me on this horse. And so I felt a little uncomfortable, like, why is this girl eyeing me? I'm having a good time, this is such a fun thing. And she comes over and then after I get off, we start talking and she becomes one of my best friends growing up. And that's how I met both my best friend and I got to ride a horse for the first time. So really cool memory.
One of my favorite childhood memories is growing up with my grandparents. So not everybody has their grandparents living with them from the time that they were 2 years old. But my father brought my Italian grandparents over to the United States when I was 2. And from the time when I left the house after I got married, they lived with us and it was awesome. So I had homemade pizza, I had homemade bread, I had homemade raviolis almost every week. And that's Italian. So one of the things that I want to just tell you what my grandmother used to say is "Che bel incontro che ci abbiamo fatto," which means what a beautiful encounter we've had here today.
So one of my favorite things from when I was a kid was just, I remember being silly. I feel like I'm not as silly anymore now that I'm an adult. I still am to a certain extent, but I remember that a friend of mine and I would go into our houses, and we would pull all of these different items and we would mix everything together, like ketchup and Vaseline and all of these different things, and we would mix everything together to make like a face moisturizer, and we would force my mom to put this stuff all over her face in an effort to try to like make skin better. We were trying to be I don't know, like dermatologists or something. So we were having a lot of fun trying to do that, and so it was just fun because we were being silly.
So my favorite childhood memory that I have is of singing and music and dancing and all of the fun that I had doing that, both at school and church and all the different places I got to do that.
Now? Okay. My favorite childhood memory is when I was little. Every year on the 4th of July, we went to New Jersey on vacation with all my cousins and aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters, and we just swam on the beach all day and watched the fireworks. That's my favorite childhood memory.
Okay. When I was in 5th grade, I was involved in basketball team in my school, and we went for a champion, like with other school, and I really enjoyed it.
So my favorite childhood memory was every Sunday after church with my mom, we would walk up the dirt road in Columbia, and there'd be this fish market. It was more of a restaurant, but the reason why I call it fish market is because when you go in there, you can catch your own fish in this tiny lake, and then they'll cook it for you, and it was delicious. We never really caught anything. I think maybe once or twice out of like 13 years. But those 2 times were the greatest feelings in the world.
My favorite childhood memory takes place in my hometown. I grew up in a really small town in Pennsylvania, and there was a lot of like forests and creeks to kind of roam around. And it was a really safe place to play, so I would go and kind of adventure on my own and pretend that I was a princess or that I was an adventurer and kind of work through the trees and through the water. And it gave me an opportunity to be anyone who I wanted to be. And then it helped me kind of grow into a little bit of all of those people as I became an adult.
So when I was younger, I really enjoyed
going on vacation, traveling with my family. We would travel 5 hours up here to Erie actually, and go to the beach, spend time with my grandparents. But the car rides were my favorite because I got to color, play the alphabet game with like license plates or signs, and just finally actually get to go out to eat. We never did that unless we were traveling or just spending time with my family and all of the shenanigans. You always learn more about your family when you're stuck in a car for 5 hours. So those are one of my favorite memories.
Favorite memory of my childhood was when I was growing up on a farm. I lived on a farm with cows, pigs, and chickens. And the farm was my playground. So I played all around the farm. We had a lot of acres. And I would pretend a lot of things. I would climb trees, and I would play in the chicken coop, that it was my little clubhouse when the chickens moved out. After they moved out, it was our little clubhouse. So that was a very fond memory.
And she had a watermelon patch, and we used to go out there because they would pick a watermelon for us to eat, but we wanted more. So we go out in the patch and we burst one open and just eat it right there in the patch. And we got caught, we were in trouble. But a lot of fun memories like that. I fell off my grandmother's horse many of times because we were really small, so we had to bring the horse to her porch so we could get on it. Because we rode bareback, we didn't ride with saddles or nothing, just bareback. And we'd fall off a lot. But thank God we never got hurt.
My favorite childhood memory is playing guitar with all my friends in the neighborhood.
My favorite part of childhood is I come from a family of 14, and so we would always get a softball team together or basketball, kick the can, tag, bases. We played all kinds of games with my family, and I just enjoyed being with them.
My favorite childhood memory is going to New Hampshire, specifically Andover, New Hampshire, every summer. My grandparents owned a cabin, so for 2 weeks every August we would go there, and I loved being at the cabin because one, I would see my cousins, and I would have 2 weeks where we couldn't watch TV or have any electronics, and I just loved, my favorite place is to be on a lake. And I just love being with nature. I loved hearing the loons calling, hearing the bullfrogs make noises, and there was a little island called Blueberry Island, and we used to go and pick blueberries. So that's an awesome memory. There was also a general store down the road that we would go and get penny candy. So I always have sweet memory, or my husband always says, every good memory I have involves a sweet. So yeah, I used to go and get candy, and that was really awesome. And just one more thing, when we were there, they always had a craftsman's fair, and I'm an artist, and every summer we go to the New Hampshire Craftsman's Fair, and I love doing that.